Hi, I'm Keeley, also known as Kelly.
And I'm Feely, also known as Alex.
Welcome to our corner of the Shire,
where we will show you how to bring Middle-earth
into your daily life to keep you
a happy hobbit.
Welcome to this episode of Happy Hobbit. The end of summer and the start of autumn are times when, all around our country, trees are producing apples. Now, if you live in an area like we do, then your apples are not only going to be human food, but food for pests. Like right here, this apple has a hole in it from where a worm has eaten it. And even someone like Farmer Maggot's best attempts to keep worms out aren't necessarily going to work. So instead of leaving these apples out for the deer or just throwing them away, one thing you can do with them is make applesauce. And that's a great thing to do with wormy apples because what you do is you cut out the part that has been damaged by the worm and you save the good apple meat. And I'll show you how. The great thing about applesauce is that all you need are some apples and a little bit of water, a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, and, if you wish, a little bit of lemon juice, and you have a tasty treat on your hands. An alternate method for peeling if you don't have an actual apple peeler is to just use a knife. So you cut your apple in half and then you quarter it, and you want to stay around this hard part in the center where the seeds are. And you just take the blade and you press your thumb against the apple to control the blade, and you just sort of carefully go and peel off chunks of the apple skin. If this is the only method you have, then that's fine. This is how our ancestors and probably hobbits in the Shire would have done it. Though, they were an inventive folk, so it stands to reason that they could have had some sort of apple peeling device. But you just want to save as much of the fruit as possible for your food, of course. And this kind of takes off a little bit more apple than I'd prefer. And probably more thumbs and fingers and stuff than we'd prefer too. So that leaves you with some nice little apple bits you can throw in with the rest. The benefit of doing it this way too is if you do have apples that are really wormy, this is really the only way to go because you're going to have to cut out big chunks of those apples. Like there's worm hole here and here, so you're going to have to cut those out anyway. But still, instead of having the whole apple go to waste, you're using it for something. And yeah, if you have a really wormy apple, you're not really going to be able to peel it on a peeler. So now we have our apples all chopped up. It's time to put them in the pot. Smells like apples. And to this, you're going to add a cup of water, a 3/4 cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm gonna put in a little extra because you know me. I love my cinnamon. And a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, alternatively, if you have these things on hand, you can peel a lemon so that you use 3 strips of lemon rind, and then you can squeeze that lemon and use all the juice from that fresh lemon. And you can also put a cinnamon stick in instead of the cinnamon. And then just when it's time to mash the apples, you just pull those things out. So here is Just the lemon. So you're going to turn this on and wait for everything to come to a boil, and we'll go from there. So this doesn't seem like enough liquid right now, but as the apples heat, they're going to start becoming mush, and the pectins are all going to break down, and you will see more actual apple juice coming out. So I've covered the pot and I've let it cook just for only about 5 minutes, and it's already all coming to a boil. As you can see, as much of a boil as this small amount of liquid can get. So just keep giving it a good stir, and then you're going to want to reduce the heat to about medium. It depends on how hot your stove cooks, and as we've established, our stove cooks very hot. So I'm going to lower the heat and set the timer for about 15 minutes and come back and check on it. So as these are cooking, I'm just going to take little peeks inside the pot. Look how much liquid there is. And I'm just going to give the contents a stir to make sure, you know, it's all evenly getting heated. The hotter and the longer these apples cook, the mushier they're going to get, which is what we want because, as you all know, applesauce is mushy. So the time is up, the apples are ready, and whenever you're opening a pan with hot ingredients, always open it like this so that the steam escapes away from your body, otherwise you can actually get burnt from steam. So check it out, a lot of the liquid has been absorbed and the apples themselves are really mushy. See how these, you can test it by trying to find a big chunk and see how it just mushes like that, almost like they're pears. So they're ready now for the fun part. You take a potato masher and you mash them. Now you can mash them however much you want. Some people enjoy a chunkier applesauce. Some people want it really smooth. If you can't get it as smooth as you really want it to be, then another thing you can do is once it cools down a little bit, put it through a food processor. But as anyone who's seen the pumpkin pie recipe knows, food processors aren't exactly my friend. So I've been mashing for a minute or two, and check out how smooshy it is. Who would have known that those apples could boil down?
Keellie lied to you. She said, I'm not gonna use no pureer chopper. Look what I caught her doing. Don't touch no sprinkle. That's not cool like you told them. She called me. I wonder how.
How do they know I don't lie every single episode?
How do they know you're not really Keellie?
What if my name isn't really Keellie?
What if your name is actually
Kelly!
or Bob?
I don't think I've ever said that name on Happy Hobbit before.
I'm Kelly, and I'm Alex.
Working!
And if you can probably tell, we're sisters.
I had to do this because these apples were borrowed from various places at various times.
I don't think you're gonna give them back.
I will, because I'm going to eat it, then I'm going to poop it out, my poop's going to become fertilizer, and then someday it's going to get eaten by another apple tree, so I just borrowed it. So once you may or may not have turned to some modern technology to puree your applesauce, just put it in a jar to store it, and you're good to go. And there you have it, a jar of fresh homemade applesauce. Now you can either eat this plain by itself, or you can put it on ice cream, or you can substitute it for half the butter in recipes like for cookies or for cakes or for muffins, which is what I'm going to try because apple and muffin sounds really good to me. So feel free to do with it what you wish, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Happy Hobbit and that it's left you a hungry hobbit. can almost have our own spin-off series.
Called Hungry Hobbit.
Hungry Hobbit is just where we put all our... When Happy Hobbit's washed out and done and everyone doesn't like Middle Earth anymore, we'll just call it Hungry Hobbit and it'll just be this insane
And we'll be
show.
starving musicians.
Yeah, and it'll just be like, we'll cook on our knees. Like, we're hobbits, but you can't reach the counter.
We can just go insane when no one cares anymore.
We already are insane.
I know.
I smell it. Cooking behind me.
Smells good. Hold on.
Welcome to this episode of Happy Hobbit. You might be wondering what I'm cooking behind me. So, this is what happens when you try to pull off the apple core and all of a sudden it gives and then you hit the blade. There you go. So you can see I did it twice. The first cut wasn't so deep. The second one, as I kept cutting apples, I was like, why is it still hurting? And then I'm like, this is why I was nicknamed after Keeley. Don't eat all good. Just get rid of the insect poo.
I love the insect poo. You're so terribly backlit, it's ridiculous.
Like you can't see me.
Sort of. And this is a drawing of Aramis, D'Artagnan, and Porthos.
That's not going on Happy Hobbit.
I love smooshy things.
What? You think smooshy isn't a word?
It's not a word.
Loafers wearing some weird old man hat.
Oh yeah, Torn Tuesdays
With
on.
Oops.
This is why we're always missing Torn Tuesday, because we're filming Happy Hobbit.
Hey, there's the rumor around town that Beaufort, he don't even watch this show anyway.
Yeah, it's true.